Today I'm reviewing the Burson Audio Playmate 3 DAC and headphone amplifier. We're going to find out if it sounds as good as it looks. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews, and just check out the chassis of the Burson Playmate 3 here. Now, this is coming in at a price of $599, so it's pretty pricey in terms of a little desktop unit, but it has some serious power. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk first of all about the DAC chip at the heart of this device. Inside, we've got a single Sabre ES9038Q2M. That is currently one of Sabre's flagship chipsets, and this decodes up to 768 kilohertz at 32-bit and native DSD 512. Let's have a look at the exterior now, starting with this beautiful aluminium ribbed chassis. Now, this chassis, the whole thing acts as a kind of a passive heatsink, and yeah, it works. I guess it works because this thing gets toasty warm, which is pretty standard for a Class A headphone amplifier or amplifier in general, but it is just beautiful. It looks very similar to the Burson Audio Funk that I reviewed way back in 2021. So this is what the front panel looks like. It's a pretty simple layout. Over here you've got your power button and then a 3.5 and a 6.35mm headphone outputs, both single-ended. Unfortunately, it would have been great to include a 4.4mm balanced output. Not so much for improved audio quality or extra power, which this certainly doesn't need, but just for more compatibility with extra cables and terminations. Then we've got this little OLED display in the front. You get a nice clear indicator of the volume output, as well as the input, selected output, and the current bit rate. And then you've got this really nice volume knob here, which is so smooth to use with some nice knurling on it, which also acts as a button, as a mute button, just like that. And then we've got the little menu select button here, which opens up the menu. I'll show you that in just a moment. USB Type-C input, and then an optical or SPDIF input. You've got unbalanced RCA outputs, and then your DC 2.4 volt in. There are 4 little rubber feet on the bottom, so you don't scratch up your table or whatever. But yeah, it's a beautiful device. It feels fantastic in the hand. Now, of course, the thing that Burson Audio is famous for is their sort of modularity. So you can open the chassis up, you can change the op amps. Inside of here, we've got 2 dual op amps and 2 single op amps. In addition to that, you can also change out the internal power modules. So if you want to, there's plenty of upgrade options there. By the way, I forgot to mention this version that I have is $599. That's the standard version. There is an updated version. I think they call it the premium package. That comes with upgraded op amps and power modules and a lovely metal remote, which I don't have, but regardless, this is what it looks like. It looks fantastic. Oh, I forgot to mention one of the most important things. The power output on this thing is insane. I'm talking a massive 3 watts of Class A power per channel. Yeah, 3 watts per channel. Like I said, single-ended, but that is so much output power for the headphone outputs there. You can drive pretty much any headphone you can imagine with this thing. I want to give you a quick look at the menu system. Quite extensive. So first of all, you've got your input selection, USB or Toslink. Then we've got the output. You can select between headphone out and pre-out. Then you've got your headphone gain mode, low or high, obviously. 5 different built-in DAC filters, and what they do is slightly alter the high frequency presentation. There's not much in it, but there is a slight audible difference. there are more options here. I'm not going to go into all of them now. If you want to know more about these other menu options, check out the written review. There's a link in the description below. Another important thing to mention is this does support microphone pass-through, so you can actually use a microphone with this device. In addition to that, it has an auto off feature, which is really important, especially when you're dealing with something that gets as hot as this does. If you're a bit absent-minded like myself and you are prone to sort of leave the room and go and do other things and forget to turn your DAC or your amp off, yeah, this thing gets so hot. So it's nice to know that after, I think it's like 20 minutes, if there's no audio signal, it will automatically turn itself off. I love that feature. Right, let's get to the important part of the review, and that is, of course, the sound and how the Burson Playmate 3 actually sounds. So for my setup, I had this connected to my PC via the USB Type-C input, and I played all kinds of high-res FLAC files through Fubar 2000 and MusicBee. I also did some streaming with Spotify. Most of my testing was done using the Playmate 3 as a standalone device, as in a headphone amplifier, although I did test the line out using my Felix Audio Elise. And of course, I tested a bunch of headphones, including the new Moondrop Horizon, the Moondrop Power, the Sivka Pang Meze 99 Classics, and of course my Sennheiser HD 650s. In addition to that, I tested a bunch of different IEMs, including my incredible Spiral Ear SE6 Nebula and FIO FH19. I'll talk more about those pairings later on. But when it comes to sound, the Playmate 3 here, it's got a really nice balance between sort of this refined sense of clarity, but it's also got a dash of musicality and a little dash of warmth thrown in there. It's never clinical, it's never sterile, but at the same time, it's definitely not mushy or overly forgiving. So it performs really nicely across all different music genres. You get that, you know, those Sabre chips are known for their clarity and detail. You get all that, but it's sort of coupled with that Class A analog richness. It's got fantastic end-to-end extension, as you would expect, but I'd argue that the mid-range is the strongest trait of the Playmate 3. So vocals and acoustic instruments, they just really pop. They have this beautiful natural body and texture. There's enough air and separation in the mids to keep even really complex music tidy. And the mids never sound artificially sweetened, just really natural, but very powerful, yet articulate and detailed. When it comes to the bass presentation, the bass is really tight. It's got a very commanding bass. So when the music calls for those deep rumbles, the sub bass delivers really hard. It does so without ever getting loose or bloated. But of course, the sub bass response will depend very heavily on whichever headphones or IEMs you're using. The mid bass has got a subtle lift, just a little bit of boost, which is enough to give bass guitars and lower vocals a satisfying warmth and weight, but crucially it maintains excellent speed in the lows. The attack and the decay are nice and quick, which keeps the lows from getting congested. Now, up top for the treble, the treble I'd say is very polished, it's very articulate, you get plenty of detail, you get a nice bit of shimmer without any harshness, again dependent on your headphones and transducers. But Burson has kept the treble really refined with this one. The extension is smooth, it helps the soundstage feel open and really spacious. It's got sparkle, but you can live with it, it's not a harsh sparkle at all. It makes long listening sessions really pleasurable and great. Speaking of space though, this has a soundstage that is wide and natural. It gives instruments clear, distinct positions within the soundstage without making anything sound diffuse or too soft or exaggerated. Imaging is spot on, so really good for not only positional cues in music but also for gaming. It makes it easy to follow everything, every signal element in the recording. Okay, now importantly, I need to talk about the pairing with this device. Remember, we've got that massive 3-watt power output from the headphone amplifier, from the headphone out. So really, this is designed for headphones, specifically full-sized headphones. It is not really designed with IEMs in mind. You can, however, use IEMs, but it will depend on which specific ones you are using. So for example, with my Spiral Ear SE6 IEMs, that is a very sensitive all-BA IEM. With that one, as soon as I plug it in, I can hear the background noise. I can hear a bit of a buzzing or hissing in the background, which is a bit unpleasant. Once the music starts, you don't really hear it, but in silent passages or in between tracks, you can hear that background noise. So that's definitely not a pairing that I would use with this. However, with other IEMs, like I said, it's fine. My FIO FH19 turned out to be a great pairing with this. Despite being very easy to drive, it's only got 16 ohms impedance, the FH19, and also 109 dB sensitivity, so it's really easy and efficient IEM. However, when I plugged that one in, I didn't hear any of that background hiss. But the challenge with that comes from the sheer output power. So the volume is already too loud at 1 out of 100. It's already louder than my normal listening level. So to get a usable volume range, what I had to do was reduce the output level in my playback software. So in Music B or Fubar 2000, I had to lower the volume there so I had a more playable volume range on the Playmate 3. Once I did that though, yeah, sounds amazing. Well, that is with certain IEMs. Like I said, super sensitive IEMs, do not try it with these. Like, if you are someone who listens primarily to IEMs, you should not buy this. This is for headphone users. So let's talk about some headphone pairings, specifically first of all, the Meze 99 Classics. Now, the 99 Classics, this is an efficient headphone. It's easy to drive. You can even plug these straight into a smartphone and get a pretty good response out of them. But surprisingly, I didn't hear any background hiss or any noise with this one, so it's a good pairing. It was actually a lot better than I expected. So bass notes still have that classic sort of 99 Classics, a little bit of bloom there. But at the same time, they had an extra level of control compared to what you get with sort of lower tier sources. The treble was nice and sparkly, but not sharp, and the soundstage was very well proportioned. I mean, sort of a rounded area rather than a flat plane with excellent forward depth in it. So yeah, the 99 Classics are definitely a good pairing with the Playmate 3. And then the Sennheiser HD650, of course, a little bit more demanding in terms of driving power. But the Playmate 3 just shrugs off these like it's not even there. Like, it doesn't even notice that you've plugged them in. It's got so much power on tap. But the sound with the HD650s, the bass sounded nice and disciplined, very composed, but still very warm and musical, impactful. So the bass was full-bodied but tight. The mids were rich, yet at the same time very articulate. The treble, smooth and airy. The soundstage, nice and wide, but also quite deep. So really, the Playmate 3 does well at producing depth in the soundstage as well as width. In addition to that, you get pretty good height within the stage as well, but again, that's going to depend on the headphones that you use. Anyway, guys, to wrap it up, that I've spent many hours with this Playmate 3. It's been on my desk for, it must be a month, I'd say. So this thing is absolutely brilliant. First of all, it looks fantastic. It feels so good in the hand. It's really nicely built. It's a hefty little piece. Like I said, it does get very warm. So if you're in an small enclosed space, or if you don't have air conditioning or whatever, that might be an issue. But apart from that, this thing just sounds incredible. And on top of that, you get that customization too. So you can swap out the op amps. You can use other Burson op amps, the V7, the V6, etc. You can use Spark OS op amps. You can also change those power modules if you want to get the absolute blackest background possible. You get that immense Class A output power, and that means you get flawless dynamics and heaps of headroom without breaking a sweat. And while you can use it with IEMs or earphones, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can, but primarily this is made for headphones, and for that purpose, it does an absolute banger of a job. Having said that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, PAR Family Audiophile style. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.